Here we go. It is Orange and Blue today. Cecil Mase, Andrew Mason, Denver Broncos, and specifically Mase. You and I will be the truth tellers here. And we're going to tell the truth that it wasn't training camp today.
Yeah. Acclamation Day.
I like that.
That's what it's called. Acclamation Day. There are 2 acclamation days. Today, Wednesday. If you're watching this on Wednesday, it's today. I sometimes have to remember that the non-live audience might be watching this mostly on Thursday. So
yeah,
Wednesday and Thursday, July 23rd, July 24th. These are the acclamation days. There's that beautiful canned rock music.
Yes. I love it.
Yes. And there's Courtland Sutton right there pictured because he was out there.
Yeah, let's jump into that real quick here. And to kick things off with the Courtland Sutton thing again, Cecil Mase, Andrew Mason, Orange and Blue today. We are here for you. The Sutton thing, he was there, but did he hold in? There's conflicting reports here, Mase. You were there. I was on the air. I'll be out there Friday and then every day after that. But like, was it a hold in or not?
First things first, let's hear from Broncos coach Sean Payton, because Mike Kliss of Channel 9 early in the press conference specifically asked him about Courtland Sutton and the workload today. And this led to the discussion because, of course, you bring up Courtland Sutton, the contract, and the lack of an extension comes up. So Mike Kliss asked about Courtland Sutton and the workload today, and here's what Sean Payton had to say.
No, he did. He was. Look, there's a number of guys. You're going to ask me about a few contracts. They're all, being worked on. Something we really would never discuss with you. And those guys are getting work done. So, there's been good communication, and I'm just going to leave it at that relative to the specific players.
So he did practice.
Yeah, and he got the relative two.
Got the relative 2 in there.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, I mean, there's like kind of a workload discussion, right? Okay. Like, was it, how much did he get in? Now, it was a limited work day today for the Broncos. It's an acclamation day. It's one team period. It's 1 7-on-7 period, 1 special teams period. And it's an acclamation day. And it's also, you have different players who are on different schedules. You've got veterans, you've got injured players. Now, today, for example, you have 2 players coming off of injury. You have Dre Greenlaw and Alex Singleton, 2 players coming off injury at linebacker, and they're working their way back in. That's a good sign. You have PJ Locke coming back from spinal fusion surgery, trying to do something that is, exceptionally rare, right? To come back from spinal fusion surgery and play. He's out there. Good sign. So it was something that Sean Payton was later asked about, these injured players, but it also kind of comes up with veterans as well. A veteran perhaps like Courtland Sutton, like being an 8-year guy. So workload, players and how much they're going to work. That's something that kind of keep in mind, that we may not know everything about just how much players are going to work, that, they have a plan, but we're not necessarily going to know every detail of the plan for each player. So this is Sean Payton talking about those players coming back, but also just something that I think everyone should bear in mind as we talk about players and how much they take part in training camp, that you may be out there at practice, if you're one of the lucky few hundred who's out there each day, that you maybe you expect to see a player and you don't see him because perhaps the plan is that they're not taking part that day. Here's Sean Payton talking about players coming back from injury and how they're being worked back in.
Now, look, these players we're discussing, whether it's Dre or any of these guys coming back off of injury, we're going to monitor the snaps. We're gonna have a calendar where some days they're not going to practice. I'm telling you now because you'll ask me then. And it's 3 groups all the time. It's the recently injured, it's the injury history, and then it's the veteran group of players that we'll put together a little bit of a load management program. I don't want to call it that, but it's us looking ahead over the next 4 weeks and getting ahead of the practice schedule. So those guys would all fall into that.
So that's why I'd say let's be mindful and wary of too much speculation on guys.
Please.
Yes.
Please. And you and I will bring that to the table for everyone out there. If you hear something different from other outlets, which I don't care about, just understand that there will be some limitations and it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. If Zach Allen gets a day off, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Fine. No problem there. Zach Allen, there's snap count talk with Allen, Benito.
Yeah.
It's something, it's part of the conversation. And also Mase, it's part of the depth this team has.
Yeah. The depth and wanting to take a look at the depth as well. I mean, if you look out there and you see, you see players that, getting a day off. Okay. Zach Allen gets a day off. Okay, fine. Maybe you want to get a longer look at Savion Jones, right? See where he is to see if he factors in the rotation.
It might.
It's okay. Now, if you see a player miss a bunch of days in a row, 2, 3, 4 days, that's when that's when you start saying, okay, that's a pattern. Something's going on here. When you see like a one-off and then they're back to work, or if it's like 2 days and then they're right back, then you can say, okay, that's part of the plan. So I think this is going to be one of those things where maybe everyone just needs to not overreact to one day and what a workload is on one day and kind of sit back and just be patient. Now, that I think goes against everyone's instincts because we like to have snap judgments and we like to react to things in the moment.
Hot take.
But also, hey, we've been waiting 6 months since the Buffalo loss in the playoffs. Now we've had some things to watch in the OTAs and minicamp, but it's been a long wait to actually see these guys work. So there's a little bit of drinking the sand because it's what's there. But I think we're going to try to be mindful here. And I think this is sort of a public service announcement here to not overreact to playing to practice reps on a given day. Again, if you see a pattern over a few days, that's something different.
Yes. So be mindful of that and be mindful of what the players are saying, because the players to a man aren't shying away from the now while also realizing, and Sean Payton was asked this today about like, oh, Super Bowl. And he said, you never want to be afraid of the end game. I believe that was the quote. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, he did.
I flipping love that. I love that. You can't be afraid of the end game. It's okay. You're not riding your low. You didn't do anything. You didn't do anything last year. Went to the wild card round, got smoked. Okay, so focus on your work. You can tell I'm emotional, Mase.
Yeah.
Focus on your work, but don't be afraid of what could result from that work. And I flipping love that.
It was a good answer. It was toward the end. Don't be afraid of the end game. But he also, in setting up that, he also said it starts with the division and the seeding. This is a point that I made over on my own YouTube channel last night. I think before this team worries about the Super Bowl, if you want kind of like a first step, a first goal, it's winning the division. And that's partially because I don't think this team gets to that Super Bowl goal without winning the division. Because I don't think it gets there if it has to win 3 consecutive road games in the postseason.
Right. Very correct.
So basically, I think you've got to have the home game. So it starts there. And Peyton said that starts with the division and the seeding. And then he distilled it down to an earlier goal, which is start faster than the last 2 seasons. So he mentioned don't be afraid of the end game, but then in setting that up, he focused on the nearer term goals, and he kind of worked his way back. He started with the division and seeding, but then brought his way back to the first thing, which is start faster than you have the last couple of years. You opened 1-5 in 2023. You opened 0-2 in 2024. Avoid getting into that early hole. Actually put yourself on better ground early rather than putting yourself into chase mode.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I love that. And the focus of the professionalism, a lot of veterans on this team, a lot of voices, but voices that are in unison, but not in some sort of robotic way of like, coach told us to say this, but more in a realistic way of this is how you build a championship.
Yeah.
This is how the foundation is built. This is the construct. It's literal construction out there at Broncos Park, powered by Common Spirit, which you can do the letters a lot faster than I can. BBP. I forgot the S. Common Spirit. Is it one word or two? Common Spirit. It's 2 words.
It's 1 word, but there's the capital S in the middle of it. So yeah, it's a little tricky. Depends how you define it. So I'm calling it 2 because you have the capital S in there.
Okay. Well, there's also construction of this roster.
Yes.
And we get to see it. We get to see the building of whatever the results are this year and in the future.
Construction, but you're closer to what you hope is a finished product. Although you can say a roster is never truly finished. The construction's always ongoing.
Yes.
It's a year-round process. You're always scouring the wire. You're always looking to see who's available. Jordan Dizon's always checking, always looking to see who might be procured from somebody's practice squad, perhaps.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it never stops.
It never does stop. And the thing is, like, they're going to continue to do the work. Sean with the odd answer about contracts, where we would never tell you guys that. Okay. But I have a good feeling that before we get too deep into this thing, whether it's Sutton first or Benito first, I have a good feeling, Mason, maybe it's just emotion, but I have a good feeling that both those will get done.
I think they'll get done, but at the same time, they're both in interesting spots because wide receiver and edge rusher are both positions where there's young depth that maybe you want to see how it progresses. So these are both positions where if you were the Broncos and you wanted to put a pause button there, hit that and see where some of these younger players went over training camp and into the early part of the regular season, that maybe you did, that maybe it wouldn't be the most imprudent course of action, right? Of course, then the risk is, especially with Nick Benito, if Nick Benito goes out there and gets like 6 sacks in the first 4 games, then he increases his value even more. So that there's always a risk to that, right?
Yes.
So the other thing with Nick Benito, you also, with him, you have the franchise tag in your back pocket potentially if you really wanted to do that. Of course, that brings with it some thorns. It's, even though a player gets paid for 1 year on a franchise tag, very few franchise tags result in good feelings. Despite the fact that a franchise tag for an outside linebacker / edge is in the $27 million range, likely for next year.
Yes.
So
that's a good number, but it's not a good feel.
It's not a good feel, even though when you hear George Payton talk about Jonah Ellis being somebody who he believes could make a leap like Nick Bonito did. He did make that point at the league meetings in Palm Beach back in late March. Jonah Ellis, by the way, another guy who is back to full health after dealing with an injury and a rehab in the offseason. Jonah Ellis did have a pressure today when he was out there, getting back out there. So nice to see that. Not very many opportunities because it was a team period. If you blinked, you missed it. But Jonah Ellis made the most of that brief period. By the way, Q Robinson also a couple of nice plays as well.
Okay. You asked the question, will that continue?
Yeah.
One pre-acclamation day?
Pads aren't on yet.
Right.
So we're still in the same format as we were for OTAs and mini camp.
But he's done it every time.
Yeah. Every day that I have seen Q Robinson practice, he has made a big play.
That's a message.
Landed in the notebook every time. That's a pattern. It's what, I guess we opened the show talking about how you shouldn't overreact to what the reps are on one day, and then you should focus more, or the reason or whatever, that you should focus on the pattern before you start getting into what's going on. Okay. Q Robinson has a pattern of success in practice. He's a pattern of disruption. And that's where you start saying, that's intriguing.
I kind of like that.
Yes.
And I kind of love the sponsor of our show. Now for a brief word from Ramos Law.
Today's episode of Orange and Blue Today is presented by Ramos Law, the official injury law firm partner of the Denver Broncos. Ramos Law was founded by Dr. Joseph Ramos, an attorney and ER doctor, to provide exceptional care to those injured in accidents. With a unique understanding of both medicine and law, the Ramos Law team is built to fight for you every step of the way. Experience the Ramos Law difference. Contact them today at ramoslaw.com.
There you go.
Yep.
Look for the patterns. I call them, for fantasy terms around the league, drum beats, like a consistent drum beat. Q Robinson, I mean, he's Neil Peart out there for you Rush fans. I think Neil Peart's the best drummer, so that popped to mind.
I mean, the only negative about Neil Peart is he is so good that you can't really replicate it. It's tough to even air drum Neil Peart.
Right.
Try air drumming the opening of The Spirit of Radio, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Be a little difficult.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Good luck with that.
Good luck with the Broncos this year. Going to be a problem. We know that Bo Nix shined on some plays, even a big play to Adam Troutman. I heard about that.
Nice catch by Adam Troutman.
There you go, Adam.
Hey, I'm out here too. Getting down the seam past Alex Singleton. Singleton, by the way, right there in coverage, and then
good.
Trout with a nice catch as well. Caleb Lohner with a big play.
Okay.
Wow.
There you go.
Lohner catching the pass down the middle, deep. Woo. He got open, stretched out. Nice play. That's 2 straight practices we've seen, because he had that grab at the end of the last minicamp session that had his teammates going, ooh. 7-on-7, the ball did not touch the ground. Team period belonged to the defense. 7-on-7 belonged to the offense. 7-on-7 probably should belong to the offense, although there were some checkdowns.
Sure. Right.
But team period was defensive oriented. A lot of pressure. Jonathan Cooper got a disruptive pressure working past J.K. Dobbins on one play. I mentioned Q Robinson. I mentioned Jonah Ellis. John Franklin Myers with a play that would have been very close to a sack in game conditions, working through the middle. So defense definitely took the day, but it's the old cliche, defense head of the offense.
Right. Yeah. We've seen this story before.
Yeah.
Although we don't want to change the record. We just want to see what the next song is. for this team. J.K. Dobbins, you mentioned, and Will Peterson told me this, so back up Will, or tell me he was wrong. He said he took the first handoff. Because I had to ask, like, who took the first? These are the things we do on the first day, Acclamation Day. Who took the first handoff?
He was up, and then RJ followed him.
Okay. It's probably going to happen the rest of the way.
Yeah. They're the top two. I think everybody knows it. Jaleel McLaughlin's in his own category.
He's separate. Yeah.
Yeah. Mike Cliffs and I had a good conversation about that before practice, and we both agree on this, that Jaleel is in his own box, separate from the other running backs. His own, gadget back, potential returner along with Marvin Mims Jr. He's in his own place. And for him, that means potentially the best shot. Although I haven't watched the clip, I just saw it on social. Which one of you was saying him as a surprise cut? Was that you or Josh Dover or both?
No, that was Phil.
Or Phil?
Yeah, we took issue with Phil saying that.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
all right.
Phil said it yesterday.
Okay. And you guys were reacting to that.
You know me, baby. You know I'm not going to say that.
Okay.
And I love Phil. You love Phil, but and he said he's not predicting it. He's just like, hey, and he really believes in Audric Estime. Full blank disclosure. Like, I just don't. I have to see it. I haven't seen it. I've seen a guy that dances too much as a larger back that doesn't run with power, that fumbles too much, and behind the scenes, from Phil, who had reported this, like, hey, was some maturity problems, which on my mind goes, oh, he's 20. Of course there were maturity problems. So, maybe we see something different this year, but I don't believe in Estime as much as Phil does.
I want to tip my cap to Audric Estime, though. It had a nice little cutback today. So
good.
Did have a nice play today.
He needs that.
Yeah.
When we talk about guys being limited super quick, because we mentioned Zach Allen or Nick Benito, would JK fit in that for you in terms of like, hey, if JK Veteran Day?
Yes.
That's the same category, right?
100%. I think that's a guy that you absolutely monitor reps with. And anyone who has that sort of extensive injury history, you absolutely monitor the reps. I'm not sure I would have him out there much in the preseason. I mean, you're probably only going to have 2 preseason games with your regulars out there anyhow. I can't see your regulars playing in the preseason finale in New Orleans. Not only is it the preseason finale, it's also on turf.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a reason to have guys. I mean, I'm not even sure I'd take him on the trip, but I'm sure they will, but I'd be tempted to just leave everybody behind. I'm not sure any good can come of having everybody go down to New Orleans.
That's right. Yeah, it's things can happen down there.
So I might just say, just stay home, fellas. Just have it, just relax and get ready for the season. But J.K. Dobbins, you might get the work you need for J.K. Dobbins to get ready during those joint practices that you have with San Francisco and Arizona. It's another thing. Remember, you only had the 1 joint practice last year. You got 2 this year with 2 different teams, of course. So you've got 2 preseason games, 2 joint practices. You can effectively do a lot of the work that you would do in a preseason game in joint practices and get like the work that you want to. See, that's the advantage of joint practices. You can get specific situational work against another team, 1s versus 1s, rather than in a preseason game. It's game conditions, but you don't know what the game conditions are going to give you in terms of down distance, etc.
And coaching staffs work together to build that plan.
The coaching staffs can say, Kyle Shanahan and Sean Payton can say, look, each of us really want to get our offenses 3rd and longs today. Let's make sure we get a bunch of 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 10s out there in Santa Clara. But that may be the point of emphasis. Or maybe it's something different. Maybe you're doing those against Arizona. Like, either you work those. those become in some ways more important than the actual game, than the actual preseason games. I mean, to just kind of go back 4 years ago, for an example, we look back at, there were 2 joint practices the Broncos had with the Vikings in Minnesota, and then they played a preseason game. People went wild over a couple of the passes that Drew Lock had in the preseason game early when he started. And then Teddy Bridgewater came in and was equally efficient after he stepped in. The more illuminating work from that week was when both of them and the number 1 offense went against the Vikings' number 1 defense. Those days were actually more indicative of the struggles that the Broncos would have that season. We got a lot more in terms of what we learned about that team and what was going to happen from the joint practices than we did that actual preseason game. Food for thought.
So be dialed in to what this team is doing. We will be there every step of the way. Our good friend Sharon in the chat room was saying, hey, there's a Saturday show too.
Yep.
If the Broncos are practicing, there's going to be a show. If the Broncos are practicing, we're both going to be there because it's flipping training camp.
Yep. If they're on, we're on.
Somebody asked me, I got offended, which is, I guess, dumb because I always say get as offended as you like. But somebody in the office said, are you going to be at practice on Saturday? And I was just like, what's my name? Anyway.
I mean, like, duh. The question is, if you have a, there are a lot of media credentials floating around at our shop, of course. I mean, if you have a media credential, if you're not on the air at that moment, why wouldn't you be at practice?
Exactly. Yeah, we all should be.
Yeah, just saying. Anyway.
Just saying.
Probably said too much there.
That's usually my job. But either way, it's Andrew Mason. It's Cecil Mase. It is orange and blue today. Mase, before we're out of here for today's program, so looking forward to tomorrow. So looking forward to Friday and Saturday. But how do folks help us out on our YouTube channel?
Like,
comment,
share,
subscribe,
hit that notification bell
so that you never miss a vid. That's right. He is Andrew Mason. You follow him on all the socials at Mase Denver. I'm at Cecil Mase saying OBT is a BFD. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned, and would you please stay frosty?